What's up, guys? Welcome to Jason Pelagics. I'm Jeff, and this is your SoCal fishing forecast for Thursday, May 23rd. Big holiday weekend come up here. Officially going to be what I call the kickoff of offshore season, and looks like it's right on time. So, as you can see here by our current 10-day forecast, the May gray June gloom will continue thanks to the lovely northwest wind and a little bit of an eddy condition as well. As you see here Thursday, northwest winds wrap around beneath San Clemente Island, giving us light onshore winds from the south, creating that coastal eddy condition, bringing in the May gray clouds. At least the drizzle has kind of backed off a little bit. But as you see, as we get into Friday, things get a little bit more aggressive for about 12 hours here, and then they back down. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. That may stick, may not stick, maybe get better, maybe get worse, but see how that all plays out. And pretty much the same story for as long as we can see right now. Just the same trend, northwest winds, steady and consistent, but at least the wind is staying down coastally, so things are still kind of fishable. We'll kind of see how it all goes here, but looking at our current marine conditions, things look a little dicey as we head into Friday. Seas 5 to 7 feet, and in the evening, it's really that west at 6 feet at 7 seconds is going to be the punisher. And that hangs into Saturday, and then starts to fade Sunday a little bit. But really, just have to see how this plays out. But I would say a sport boat is probably still going to run in this. Private boats, the more you head west into that wind line, the more you're not going to like it. So you really got to pick your poison and see where you end up here. But this is our current 8-day chart. Really, really blocky and patchy with the overcast sky. But don't worry, it does get better. This is our 3-day chart, starting to piece things together a little bit better. And then also our 1-day, which looks really close to the same. So I really like having the latest, greatest information available to me, the most accurate chart. Even though we're missing a lot over here to the west, this gives me a good idea of what's actually going on. So pretty stoked on that. And then chlorophyll, not much on the 1-day. Unfortunately, usually it hangs out a little bit better than that. Here's your 3-day. And then we'll take a look at the 8-day here as well. Biggest thing with the chlorophyll is you see we're starting to get a little bit of red tide. You can identify this with the orange color. See a little bit of Alamitos, a little bit of Newport. It's been a little bit down here in San Clemente, just really streaky close to shore, maybe like eighth quarter mile offshore at the most. And then see a little bit down here below the border. So this is the 8-day chart. It's starting to get a little bit worse, but nothing dramatic. So it might slow down some of your bass fishing. If you're hanging out inshore this weekend, just try and find that clean water if you can. So let's talk about what we got going on fishing wise. Channel Island's been awfully quiet the last couple of days. We had that nice little run of sea bass. Unfortunately, the weather is keeping most people off from coming back and looking at this a little bit more in depth, but just got to wait it out. That's the old spring conditions here at the Channel Islands. Good fishing and then shut down by weather and nasty swell. But that's pretty much the same story for Santa Barbara and San Nick as well. If they're hitting that wind line, you're just not really going to get a good look at them with not a lot of people heading out that way. So I don't blame them. I'd say close on them too. Catalina starting to get a little bit better action at the island for once. Better than usual, I'll say that. A little bit of yellowtail hinted around the island. Unfortunately, the squid is not really showing that well. We have full moon coming up as well, and it tends to spread out the squid, which doesn't help. So sea bass at the island really hasn't been great this year. Most of them have been schoolie fish, a lot smaller than we usually see. But the key to sea bass is always the lunchroom. Where is the lunch at? So That's been going on a little bit more on the coast. This last week had a little bit of a bite for the white sea bass, Palos Verdes kelp line. Newport Artificial Reef has turned over a couple donkeys. Not wide open in big numbers, but we're seeing some good quality fish here. So if you want to stay close to home, I would definitely consider poking around at that. And then you don't have to burn a lot of fuel. You don't have to get beat up. If it's windy, shore right home. So something to think about. Other places along the coast where I've seen good sea bass numbers over the years. Definitely the kelp along Salt Creek. Just make sure you stay out of the MPA zone if you head too far north. And then also Artificial Reef over here by Oceanside, just north of there as well. And then there's a newer Artificial Reef in San Clemente. We've always had one. They keep expanding it, and the last few years, the fish stock survey has been the best it's ever been. They've seen white sea bass there. They've seen black sea bass there. So not full steam yet, I don't think, with the kelp growth. But it's been really tough over the last couple of years as well with the water temps. But you do have a chance to poke around at this. Remember that the half day and 3/4 day boats at Adana whack this stuff pretty good. So if you're really looking to check it out, I would suggest south of the pier to San Mateo Point is probably your better bet, where the reef's a little bit older, a little bit more mature. If you want to poke around and stay close to home, not bad ideas. But yeah, a little sprinkle of yellowtail around Catalina. Your best bet for trying to track these things down is one, pull somewhere around like the 30 size mag rapalas in the green mackerel color. You can also use the DTX minnows from Nomad. They work just as good. Or make yourself some live mackerel with a sabiki, and you can slow troll those also. So always, look for the usual signs: birds, good clean water with a little bit of current, and maybe you'll come across a nice yellow. Never know. Moving down south, still a little bit of sign of yellows at the island. It's not good every day, not bad every day, but it's starting to awaken. So every day is gonna be a little bit better than the last. But best sign has still been on the front side in this warm water here. You see, Persane, Gold Bluff. That's kind of been the best area. No signs of squid anywhere else around the island. Little bit of showing down here off Pyramid as well. Again, the island just hasn't been good the last couple of years, but at least it's showing a little bit of signs of life. So there's hope. There is hope. Coronado's, again, a little bit sign of yellowtail here as well. South Island has been a little bit on the better side the last couple weeks or so than the North Island or Middles. But at least we have a little spring action sign. And don't forget to come and check as far south as the rock pile. That's usually kind of where they stop first before they move up to the island. So always take a good whole look. It might be a couple boats out, might be a little bit more busier than usual. So make sure you put the extra time in to separate yourself a little bit. Back to them pesky bluefin. Good sign today out of Mara's, Ensenada. And you see we have this nice temp break here. That's working for them. And as we mentioned last week, kind of covering the patterns of where these bluefin come early season. We talked about how they start kind of by the lower 500, then they come up to the double 220 to the 238, this nice mound here. Then they slide up to the upper and lower hidden, and then once they hit kind of the 371, 425, they either go north or they head west. Well, they went west. They went as far as the East Butterfly, and I told you about San Salvador Knoll. So you're always trying to think ahead, where are these fish going, because when they get ran over, they move, and or they find a new food source, one of the two, especially early season. They're going to move a lot. So until they're really hunkered down for more than a week or so in one same spot, expect them to move. So kind of the saying goes, if they don't go north, they go west. So if you're coming from the north to whatever spot you're going to check out and you don't see them along the way and they're not there when you get there, You got to start heading west, unfortunately, and that's gonna be right into the wind. But you notice that their noses have been pretty much pointed right into this wind line here as well. So they're swimming uphill into that wind. And that is a very important pattern that you should pay attention to. And this kind of goes for drift fishing as well. Usually, after you catch a couple, you float past the school, what do? You go uphill nose right into the wind. You're going to go right past those fish, then drift over them again. So same pattern here. Their noses are into the wind, and consequently, there's also a temp break here as well. So kind of pay attention to that stuff. It's stuff that's going to make you a better fisherman and definitely pick up on where you think that they're going to be. So again, really getting blocked out by the clouds here. But bottom view detail is where I like to spend a little bit more time here. We saw them at the 60 up to the butterfly, this whole area as well. And usually they like to follow this escarpment. It's kind of like a hoop, and they kind of pile up along this ridge on both sides. So if I'm anticipating them to go anywhere next, they're not going out to the banks. It's way too early. The water's too cold out here. They're going to spend some time mowing along this escarpment from the 43 to Sankameli Island, to Desperation, to the Butterfly. And if they, for some reason, make a U-turn with the change in weather or something, then maybe they come back down to the 60 again, or circle back up here to the Upper Hidden. But usually they're going to keep heading this direction. So if I was going to bet over the next week, where are they going to go next? Inside this escarpment here. And then eventually I think you're going to see them on both sides of Sankameli Island. The amount of bait that's been on the front side, especially mackerel, was really thick, especially over the last couple of months. So I think there's plenty of stuff here for them to stop on. That might just be the thing that makes them stop for a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it for what's going on bluefin wise. Most of the boats have been catching them on heavier jigs, 300 to 400 gram stuff. Daytime obviously switched to lighter, smaller jigs. Daytime fishing, if I was fishing a jig, doing some vertical dropping or slow pitching or vertical jigging, whatever jig technique you want to try. I really like that, like 100 to 130 gram Zakana. Even like an 80 or 100 gram flat fall will get you by just fine. Somewhere in that 80 to 130 gram range seems to work best for daytime. A couple fish being caught on the sinker rig as well, so make sure you know how to rig one of those. And then nighttime, this is that heavier stuff. Use at least 100 pound, if not 200 pound leaders. Give them the rope at night. They don't really seem to care. And make sure you give yourself a variety of jigs to fish with. Again, if for some reason they're not biting big jigs, switch to something with a smaller profile, like a Daiwa SK jig. Even the 350 gram or the 9 ounce ones, they're still a smaller profile, but still plenty heavy to get down there. A little bit different motion, so give them a little selection of the 31 flavors to choose from. So that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Be safe out there in the water. Have a nice holiday weekend. Spend some time with the fam. Grill some hot dogs. Have a couple beers. And we'll see you next week, guys. Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out our website and online store at chasingprojects.com. And make sure you share the stoke.